we're not just working on just organizational traits and tips and tricks here. We're talking about being true as yourself, true to yourself, so you can be true to others, which will lead to true leadership. It's an amazing ability and capability that so many people have that I respect. My co-host, Mike Van Pelt and Jim T. Chong. That's why they're here. We believe in creating true leaders. My name, your host, is Chris Tice. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Eagle Enrichment, your leadership solutions company. And we come together every Monday for about a half an hour to discuss these very things that make us true leaders. And here lately, we've been in our, and you'll see it in the caption there, in our leaders are ... insert here, blank. That was for you, Mike, because you know why? Leaders are fun. We're coming to that one later because right now we're in the servant leadership topic. And within these topics, we have different categories, and they're just different words to use to describe different traits that leaders are or have. And it doesn't mean we're perfect at any one of them. Some of them we're going to be very strong in. Others we may not be as strong in. But the nice thing is, and what I love about the conversations that we have each week here, is that we balance that out with one another. I mean, I take notes while these guys are talking. That's why these gentlemen are here. And I feel like they're doing the same. And so as we do this, as we continue on in this process, it's this understanding that I'm not saying leaders are perfect. That's not on the list. It's not. But these are things and topics and ideas that we present to you that you can make yourself better on, make yourself more effective at or efficient. I'm not saying you're bad at it, but if we're always looking to improve, we're always looking to make ourselves better, we know we can be true leaders. So as we go through this, the past couple of weeks, we were talking about how we are blessed, how we are faithful, how we are believers. And today we're going to be talking about leaders are grateful. We're going to be talking about gratitude today, one of my favorite topics. So, Mike, I'll kick it right over to you, the True Man, host of the True Man podcast and True Man Life Coaching. What are you grateful for? In general today, anything specific, just something. Just throw it out there.
I'm just grateful that my wife is sending me texts while I'm trying to do this show, so everybody's hearing this ding go off. But anyway, no, really, I'm grateful for my wife. I'm grateful for you guys. I'm grateful that we have an opportunity to do this because just being grateful, that's part of the way I try to start my day. I don't do it every day. Part of my, when I'm reviewing my goals is to sit down and write down 3 things that I'm grateful for. And why do that? Because it's, you want to put yourself in a place of gratitude, I think, every morning. And, and I try to self-talk myself too a lot. Like I'm grateful for, this day. I'm grateful that I had an opportunity to do this. I'm grateful that this happened. When you get yourself in that mental frame of mind, it's just a better, more positive way to live. It's just, I can't say it any better than that.
And coming from someone, me, I almost reflected this on Mike for a second. Sorry, Mike. Coming from someone who is a self-proclaimed professional pessimist, let me tell you, my cheeks hurt now, not so much my jaw. People always say, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Well, because when I used to walk around without gratitude in my life, like everything, we're going to pick on him again. We did it at the start of the show. We walk around Eeyore style, right? Oh, bother. Nobody likes me. Right? I did that. I mean, I wasn't even grateful for even the simplest of things. Like, hey, it's a nice day today. And it would be a beautiful day, right? Be outside all day. I'd find some way to say today was crap. I would. But the thing is, what I didn't recognize was my jaws and teeth hurt so much because I was always talking like this and grinding and just always had a scowl on my face. And no one could understand me. No one can understand me, right? Because I talked like that. That's what I just said. Exactly. Okay. So the thing is, now my cheeks hurt. Why do my cheeks hurt? Because I smile more. Good. I smile more. Why? Because I'm more and more grateful for the amazing things that God has put in my life. And now, when it truly is a beautiful day, even though, yes, it may have some bumps and bruises, I'm even grateful for those. Because instead of turning it into an attitude of hate or pessimism or negativity,
Yeah.
I turn it into a positive. I find a way to learn from it and say, how can we fix this? I reach out to the very people I know they're going to pour into me that I am grateful for. They're going to help me step that back up. So, Jim, the Wok star, Mr. Publicist, you got, what are you grateful for? You're always so happy and positive. Jim's always got an upbeat voice. I love hearing it. He's like, "Hey, everything's great, man. How you doing?" I just
Yeah.
your accent. I'm sorry for that, but it just
Yeah.
my point is that's just how enthusiastic I get because he does. He always has a smile on his face. So, Jim, what are you grateful for?
Well, there's a lot to be grateful for. I mean, definitely, have my down times. I was just talking to Mike about some things as well. But, in general, I really am grateful just for the simple things. The fact that I am able to think, speak, and still get the basics. The fact that I have enough to eat. Definitely family. I think my kids, I'm extremely grateful for. And of course, I think just clear directives. Either they call them either blessings or lessons that God gives us every day. I think I look forward just being able to think about the next day and what is the adventure that is going to lie within. As we get older, I'm really understanding the more importantly just how our health is, how our mental state is, and I'm just thankful that I have all those acumens for now still together. So very thankful for that, and of course you guys as well. It's always great to start Monday like this, have the discipline regimen. And I think you guys are a couple people that I really respect, and I appreciate just the topics that you throw together, Chris. So I'm grateful for all those things.
Thank you for that. And by the way, we're going to have a new book called Lesson or Lesson. Which is it? I'll give you credit for that one.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Here's the thing that so my background educationally is psychology. And what's funny is it wasn't until one of my professors called me out on how much of a pessimist I really was that I recognized it wasn't just me tearing myself down, although that's what I was doing. I mean, I was on a very destructive path. And I had a bad attitude. I had a negative attitude. I didn't have an attitude of gratitude. I didn't look around at me or around me. It was me. That's it. It was just me. Well, what I also didn't account for was how that attitude was not only being perceived by others, but also received by others. So, Jim, keeping up this attitude of gratitude, how important to you, or how do you transition having that attitude, having that smile, attitude of gratitude is, having that smile, having that persona that, I mean, literally every time I answer the phone, it's Jim's, "Hey, Chris, how you doing?" Like you just hear it in his voice. It's just so happy and fun. "Hey, Chris, how's it going?" Like it just, I'll keep saying it all day if I have to, but it picks me up. And so when you just think about even just a greeting, let alone how we are perceiving ourselves is also how others are perceiving us. Now, I'm not saying we got to walk around worrying about what everyone thinks of us every day, but literally what is, especially when people are looking to you. So when someone answers, they see Jim's calling me. I know it's going to come positive as soon as he answers the phone, no matter what we got to talk about. So how does having that attitude of gratitude within yourself start to reflect out of you?
Well, I think there's just a lot of good things you can share. I think it is a tone of your voice, there is somebody like Eeyore, if you remember Winnie the Pooh, it'll never work. But I do think that it keeps me focused, like anyone else. I have my set of challenges, but it really keeps me focused on really thinking about the things that naturally come out. And I think it makes it more pleasant for the other person. I think it hopefully uplifts their day because, I know that if I'm really going through some stuff, I appreciate when somebody is positive, when somebody is looking up rather than down. I appreciate all those things, but it really does affect, I think, the tone of voice, the demeanor, your focus, because when you're really excited about things, you share it with an enthusiasm, and that makes it infectious. I think it allows you just naturally to have more connection with people and impact, more inviting, kind of like the hands open rather than the hands closed. And so it just makes for a better day overall, just your attitude things, and you have a tendency to just get things done. You do more of the grind still, but you just work with a passion and more of a focus when you're grateful.
Yeah. And so, and Mike, coming back to you, the spillover effect that happened, where it really first started to shine for me is how much of a better man I became.
Mm.
I mean, had I not shifted to an attitude of gratitude, even though I had some buried deep stuff to deal with, I wouldn't be married to my wife right now if she would have met me even 6 months sooner.
Mm.
So when I think of being a true man, aka true leader, though, because I was walking around with such a sour face and such an angry face, it was really keeping me from being the man that God called me to be. So knowing that, what are some things that you would suggest? Is yes, a smile a day, helps and things like that. But how do we change this? How do we shift? How do we have a better attitude of gratitude?
It's a good question because, it really comes down to self-awareness. And a lot
Mm.
of times we don't know how negative, what we're giving off. And it's one of the reasons why I talk a lot about guys getting in small group, because if you have a group that's being honest, somebody's going to call you out on it. And
Mm.
that call out, by the way, may be the thing that saves your marriage or saves your relationship with your children or whatever the case may be. Because listen, I've worn that, right? I mean, I'll put my hand up and say, listen, sometimes, um, you know, I've been the guy that was pretty negative. Like, oh, look at this political thing that's going on. The world's about to cave in,
Mm.
and we are dangerously close, by the way, but that's beside the point. Um, um, you know, I'm a realist, and so sometimes that comes across as negative because there's a lot of things going on in the world right now that
Mhm.
if you say them out loud in the wrong crowd, make you look very pessimistic. And but I think a lot of this, Chris, comes down to self-awareness. And the bottom line is if you're around people or you get around people and they start backing off or they're moving to the other corner of the room or people don't want to talk to you, you probably need to ask yourself a few questions like why?
Yeah.
Um,
Good
and
question.
um, and then you need to do a deep dive on yourself and discover what's going on. What I find is, and this is unfortunate, and I'm saying guys, but we know this is people in general.
It's for both. Yeah.
Yeah, most people they don't want to do the work because it's easier to think small.
Mhm.
It's easier
True.
to think small. And if you want to be the best or you want to be happy or you want to have the right attitude day in and day out, that takes work.
Mhm.
But it can become a habit that doesn't require so much work, right? It's like anything. But I think this all starts with having the self-awareness to go, wow, people don't want to be around me. I wonder why that is.
Yeah. And so and Jim said it, and Mike, I believe you said it in there too, is the word there is impact. It's one of the three great eyes of leadership is what's the impact you want to have? Going back to that story with that professor calling me out, I was the president of our club and I was bringing the entire group down. So not only was I self-defeating, crushing myself, but because of my negative attitude, everybody else was getting a negative attitude. And then the job wasn't getting done.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
ironically enough, and I'll keep the story short because I think I've shared it here before, and if not, we'll get into it another time, I'm sure. We ended up setting a record for attendance that night. And I apologized to everybody. And that professor comes up to me, he goes, huh, all that negativity for nothing. Because how do you feel right now? Honestly, which way? Physical, mental, emotional, psychological, spiritual? What? What? He goes, all of them. Not good. He goes, yeah. Now, keep in mind, I was in the psychology program. So we did some deep diving. But something Mike touched on, though, was, reaching out to people. If you notice people are standing, and that was the thing. And Mike, I'm actually glad you brought that up, because I didn't think about the fact that initially I thought that the reason why everybody was on the other side of the area we were working on was just because that was the last area that needed to be put together. Really, now that I think about it, it's probably because they didn't want to be next to me. And they were probably talking about me because I was not being the leader that I was supposed to be. My negativity, my pessimism was legitimately breaking me down. So instead of going, hey guys, and this is where I'm going to transition a little more technical leadership here. Instead of going, hey guys, I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for the people who are coming. I'm grateful for Professor Bill being on the grill. That rhymed, and that's actually his name, and it's actually what he was doing.
Bill on the grill.
We're just
Nice.
Come on.
That was not on purpose. His name is Bill. Amazing man. But instead of going around being like, hey, thank you guys. I know it takes work. Instead of doing that's not what I was doing. It's like, oh, guys, I don't even know why we're doing all this. No one's going to show up. And so that's the next big thing is when you start to make that transition, that switch, you also find yourself, your language, both physical, your body language, and the actual spoken language that you give starts to become more positive. It starts to build other people up. It just happens. Yes, we've got to put some intention behind it, but it starts to just organically happen. People see you're a little more relaxed. You're not as tense. You're smiling more. The way you're talking to people is more fluent and better. And one of the things, there's several studies on this from organizational psychology, from HR, all kinds of studies, is even just having a leader or boss, manager, CEO, whatever you're going to say, going around saying, you know what? I'm grateful for you. Not just, hey, thanks for getting that done, and boom, here's the next stack of papers and walk on. That's not what I'm talking about. Even just taking a few moments out of a day. I'm not going to give you an actual time because I don't want somebody setting the clock going, okay, I gave Mike 10 seconds of gratitude. Peace out, Mike. Okay, well, Jim gets 15 seconds today because he performed a little bit. No, we don't check the box in leadership. Yes, we have tasks, but we don't check the box and say we did it. But legitimately just going around, this works at home too, and just expressing gratitude for something someone did. As simple as my wife, set up my coffee cup. Instead of going, oh, hey, finally started returning the favor, put my coffee cup under the coffee maker, huh? And trying to pay it off as a joke. No. Actually, you know what? I really appreciate the fact that you took the time to think of me and put my coffee cup under there. Or going around the office, hey, you all are doing amazing work. We see you. We notice you. We appreciate you. Actually levels up people's mindset. It has a positive psychological effect on people that makes them more positive. It makes them want to react and reach out to you, their leader, in a more authentic way. It opens up even more channels and lines of communication. And therefore, you have a more gratitude-filled workforce, home, church, community, club, whatever. And when we're more grateful, Mike touched on this earlier, we're more productive. We seek the rewards, the winning that comes from being grateful. Jim, just think of a time or share a story if you like, or if you just want to share a piece of this. So just thinking back to whether it was something someone did for you or something you did for someone else, just mention for a moment just how good it felt as a community to have that whole attitude of gratitude, not just within one person, but as a shared cooperative effort.
It's really exciting because I feel pretty blessed. Many of us are online with different people, various groups and stuff too. But I love it when people don't expect certain things, and so what I love about the feeling is I remember, we all can relate to having a birthday party. And, when somebody was surprising me with those things, and just the fact that they took the time to be able to to wish me happy birthday in a private setting and surprise setting and stuff too. A little cash didn't hurt as well. But I mean, just people expressing gratitude, they went around and shared about certain things about me that were positive. And so it just felt really great. I mean, it really, it made me feel uplifted. It made me feel very special, and also made me feel like I could conquer the world. When you see something like that happen, and that happens for you. And converse, when we've done things for people as well, it's really neat. Even though they say like, I didn't expect it, stuff. You just know that they're grateful. You can see it in their smile. It just lingers on, and I know they just feel great. Their whole demeanor changes, and they're usually very excited and happy. There's just a different uplift of their voice and everything. So,
yeah, and that's the thing is, you notice when Jim said, I watch people's faces, not to be weird or make Jim feel self-conscious right now, because I'll do it to Mike too, because I watch and I do it myself, so I'm watching myself too. Really weird, right? No, come on. Is when Jim said when they went around the room, smile got a little bigger. And they started sharing nice things about me. It got a little bigger. And then by the time he said, it made me feel like I was on top of the world. His teeth were showing. He was smiling so much. Thank you for sharing that, one, Jim. But two, understand the principle of, in that moment, how amazing the world felt to Jim. Amazing also for the people who were there. Because there could have been a story shared that someone didn't even know existed in Jim. And this is not about putting Jim on this platform and handing him this #1 trophy, as much as it is just the whole room the temperature of the room had to have risen on a happiness scale, on a joy scale, on a gratitude scale. And so, Mike, you made mention about the world and just how things are going, and just how sometimes it seems so bleak and negative. I've caught myself, and I just did it, when I say, imagine a world where we don't do that anymore. Imagine a world where we're all positive, where everyone's feeling on top of the world. There's people out there, it's impossible. It could be argued a little bit, okay? But I don't want to get, we have a few minutes left, so I'm not going to deep dive into that right now. But the point is, instead of just imagining a world where we're uplifting one another, because the Bible says that, by the way, was the verse of the day yesterday on the YouVersion app. Keep encouraging one another. Mike, how important is it if we quit imagining, we quit talking about it, and start doing it?
Well, listen, if you look at the world, the tangible things that are going on across the globe right now, you could be very pessimistic. But the good news is you get to choose the world that you live in. Do I like what's going on across the globe? No. But what do I control? Every day, I pray that world leaders will come to Christ before they make their decision. That's all I have control over. What they choose to do, I have no control over. But I have control over me. And that's the world you have an opportunity to live in. Is that easy to do? No. It's just not. It's every day is a fight, and it starts over again every morning you get up. But it really, the world you live in is a choice that you get to have based on your attitude. And that is what you get to create. So live in the Disney World. You ever go to Disney World? They call it the happiest place on earth, right? My daughter, I haven't been in a couple of years. My daughter last night announced, well, I want to go to, her birthday's on May 30th. So she will have just graduated from high school. And she said, I want to go to Disney World. And I started thinking about it. And I mean, I'm so familiar with the place. I was like, yeah, it just made me feel really good. how does it, you got to think about those things that make you feel really good,
Yes.
and so that's kind of silly. I brought up Disney World, but the point is, right? I mean, you get to pick your attitude, and I think that that's what's critically important because not everybody picks a good one.
And in conjunction with that, think about how we're raising people, not just our kids. Yes, this includes at home. I have definitely I'm not the best dad on planet Earth. I wished I could say I was, but I have my mistakes. I've put some negative connotations in my kids. I know I have, but at the same time, we work it out. We talk about it, and I still go, okay, because like last night, my son, huge Chiefs fans. I'm not going to get into the football. Not necessarily a Chiefs fan, but I was happy for him. But when, it was third quarter, fourth quarter, somewhere around in there, he's like, they're not going to win. I mean, it's just instant negativity. And it was like, where did that come from? And it was like, son, don't think like that. And my point to this is, what or who does it take to make this shift? It takes someone like Professor Bill, yes, actual name, who stepped in and said, Chris, you're literally in 32 years of teaching the most pessimistic person I've ever met. Like, oh my gosh. It takes people smiling more. It takes changing your attitude when you answer the phone. It takes in how you discipline your children or how you interact with your spouse or how you interact with your employees or coworkers. You don't have to have rank, title, or position to have a positive impact on somebody. You just don't. You just become and be more positive. You smile more. You have an attitude of gratitude. You do the things that Mike talked about. I always tell everybody, if you're going to journal, I want a minimum of 3. I'd love to see you get 10 things each day you're grateful for, and you write them down. And Jim even made mention how simple it could be. Grateful for the food I had to eat today. There are some out there who may not have that.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe there's a time in someone's life. I know I barely survived off peanut butter a couple times in life, ramen noodles. I don't say that to take it for granted. I say it because there are just even the simplest of things in life to be grateful for. Right now, I'm grateful for the space heater that's right next to me because it is cold in Kansas today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably going to write that down if I remember, to be honest with you.
I had a chunky peanut butter sandwich for lunch, and it was delicious.
Crunchy peanut butter is the best. Just saying. We'll argue that later. But my point is, people are more adaptable and available to you when you're positive and when you're grateful for them. It is a proven fact. And this is where I was going with the research earlier. Is a proven fact that when an employer, a boss, manager, supervisor, whatever, expresses gratitude, and it does not just have to be monetarily, does not have to just be in money or gifts or anything else, even just authentically coming up and saying, I am grateful for the work you do. We see you. We acknowledge you. We appreciate you. Even just having an employee of the month picture, it doesn't have to be a plaque, a picture up on the wall that they take seriously and actually recognize people. That organization's employee retention is considerably higher than other organizations who don't. And the only way I say regardless of pay is if the pay is remotely within scale of each other. Even if the company that's expressing more gratitude pays a little bit less, more employees are usually there longer and more productive because of the gratitude that is expressed in them. But as always, it has to start here. It's got to start with you. Jim, final thoughts from you, and how do we connect with you?
Yeah, well, you can always go to zoomturtle.com. You find out a lot of information if you scroll down far enough. You'll get my contact stuff. But I love this whole focus on gratitude. I mean, what a great way to start out the day, to think about how we can really impact people. A smile is a very powerful thing. And, just gratitude, it can be infectious. So I love this. I think it energizes people. I think it gives people hope. You never know what kind of battle people are going on through during the day, and it's just something that you just can't go wrong with if you really just focus on things that you're grateful for.
Amen. Thank you for that, Jim. Mike, you, sir.
Hey, I just want to say that my boss just gave me this note. It says I'm employee of the month. Wow, I'm ecstatic.
But okay, hold on though. Did anybody watch his face? He's joking, but he's not, because when he said I'm ecstatic, his eyebrows went up a little bit and his smile got bigger. Listen, folks, listen. Hold on, now we're going over. I don't care today. Listen, how important him creating his own level of gratitude within himself shone through in his expressions of his face. Jim started laughing and smiling. I started laughing and smiling more. Anyone watching this, I guarantee you did. And it's not just because it was a joke. It was because it showed an appreciation, not just for the joke, but also for the fact that he was willing to say that to himself, for himself, but knowing that it can be shared across beyond himself. That's what being a true leader is. Mike, how do we reach out to you?
Send me an email, mike@truemanlifecoaching.com. That's how you can get a hold of me. And you can listen to me on my podcast on truemanpodcast.com. Just go to that channel and boom, you can hear another great interview.
Hey, Mike, I have another question. I heard a rumor about you. And I think you've shared it a few times, but I want to confirm it. Don't you have something else coming out here pretty quick?
A book? Yeah.
His book. How do we pre-order that thing?
You can
Yeah,
go to,
there we go.
Yeah, you can go to MikeVanPeltAuthor.com.
.com. Oh wait, I could probably get in trouble.
Nice.
All right, Jim, if that's going to be licensed, my fault. Everybody, thank you all so much. Honestly, we are truly grateful for you, and it is an absolute blessing to be able to host this show. I love all things leadership. We are beyond grateful and eternally grateful for the Employee of the Month, Mike Van Pelt. That's why he's the MVP of life. Jim T. Chong, grateful for you, sir. I'm Chris Tice. You can reach me, Chris, at eaglefireenrichment.com, or instead of the Chris ad, just put www.eaglefireenrichment.com, and you can reach out to me there. Leadership solutions, coaching, and consulting. I love all things leadership. I love working with leaders. I love making leaders better, more effective in everything we do and in every way. And I love doing it for myself too, which is what helps me keep my attitude of gratitude. My prayer for everybody this week, at minimum, write down 3 things you're grateful for each and every day. Each and every day. Send me an email. Let me know how it goes for you. Bet you smile more. I know you will, because I know I do. I'd love to hear 10, though. Love to hear 10. But until then, and until next week, we'll see you again. I want you to have your best day ever. How are you going to do that? Go out and make every day great. Remember, Ken never did. God bless us all. Thank you so much.
Goodbye.